So C++ is a language that lets us overload operators. And not all object-oriented languages let you overload operators. There's some debate about whether this is a good practice because there can be some abuse. It's not always clear how one should overload a given operator. And put simply, this just lets us define operators for the classes that we write. In the previous lectures, I implemented the add method and I implemented the less than method. But what we're going to do in this lecture is define the plus sign, or really the plus equals operator, and the less than operator so that we can compare and add time objects using them. And it's pretty simple. All you have to do is, for a given operator, and I'll just call it, op, and we'll see an example. What you do is you implement a method named operator. Operator is a keyword, and then op. So, for example, to overload the plus equal operator, I implement operator plus equals. And to overload the equality operator, I implement operator equal equal. And to overload the less than operator, I implement just like that. Now, we can't overload all operators. There are, you can look at a table and back of textbooks and it will tell you which operators can and cannot be overloaded. But for us, we're going to take a look at these. So the first thing you have to do is you have to define these methods in your class. So again, I've got the class time, and we want all of these to be public methods. So in the list of methods, let's start by declaring the equality operator. And I'm going to pass in a time object. And you'll notice that the declaration of this method is exactly the same as the declaration for the equal method, except I'm just changing the name of it here. And of course, this is a constant method. So I can do the same thing for the less than operator. And then finally, with the add operator, really it's the plus equal operator is what I'm doing. Just like that. Now, how does this help me? So when I get these implemented in main, I am actually going to be able to write T1 is equal to T2. So if T1 is equal to T2, then cout equal. Now, what happens is the compiler actually gets, rewrites this T1 dot operator equal, and it passes in T2. In fact, if you want to, you can take this expression and substitute it in here, and you'll see that it compiles and runs. And of course, this is just the same as the equal method. So one thing I could do is I could take the code out of the equal method, cut and paste it into the implementation of this method, or I can just have this method call equal. And, from a design standpoint, you probably want one or the other. You certainly don't want to write the same code in two different methods. And we can debate whether you want the operator and an equal method or just one or the other. So I'll leave that up to you. So now let's look at the implementation of these methods. And, they're going to be exactly the same as any other implementation of a method. And you just implement the method here in the body just like we did when we implemented the equal method. Instead of duplicating the code, I'm just going to take advantage of the method that we've already implemented, and I'm going to return what equal returns, and I'm going to pass in the parameter time. I can do the same thing for less than. Rather than duplicating the code, I am simply going to return what less than returns. And finally, for add, or for the plus equals operator, I'm just going to call add. So type this in, code it up, get out the errors, and try using these operators in main. And you'll see that these operators will now work for our time class.